Good afternoon, Bob. Thanks for being here this afternoon on,
And
uh, on Zoom, our new normal. So, Bob, you're from Eufaula, Alabama, and graduated from University of Alabama, and then you went to law school at Cumberland School of Law and graduated in 1994. And next month, you assume the presidency of the Alabama State Bar. You'll be the 145th president and the 7th Cumberland lawyer to assume that role. So we're pretty excited at your alma mater. And I thought we would tell our viewers today, our Cumberland community, what your mission is and or goals for the next year during your presidency.
okay, well, first of all, Ann, thanks for having me. It's good to see you again, and hope you're doing well during this pandemic. My goals have somewhat changed a little bit since the pandemic, but my main goal is to jumpstart the legal profession and help our judiciary fully open the courthouse. That's something that I had not planned on happening, but it did. So that's really one of my most important initiatives, is to make sure we can get the legal economy moving again, but also get our courthouses open for the public so that the public and the court personnel and the lawyers can be safe, so that we can get the courthouse doors open. So jumpstarting the legal profession and opening the courthouses fully is probably my most important initiative now. I had 3 other initiatives that I'm still going to pursue this year that I had planned before this pandemic. And briefly, they are: number 1, lawyer public relations. And what we're going to do with regard to lawyer public relations is we're going to highlight all of the great deeds that lawyers in Alabama do on a daily basis. For example, Alabama lawyers donate tens of thousands of hours of pro bono services every single year. We also, as a legal profession, contribute billions of dollars, and that's billions with a B, of dollars in economic impact to Alabama's legal economy every single year. Most people don't realize that the legal profession and the court system are one of the largest economic engines in the state of Alabama. So we're going to highlight those facts, plus we're going to highlight the fact that pretty much every single corporate board, charitable board, and religious organization in the state of Alabama has a lawyer serving on that board or has a lawyer in leadership. And the reason that happens is because lawyers love to give back to the community, which follows our motto at the state bar, which is lawyers render service. And as you know, and what we were taught at Cumberland, is we have a very unique skill set with regard to leadership and with regard to solving problems. And so lawyers solve these problems for members of the community, but also do so on a pro bono basis a lot out there in our community, and we want to highlight that fact as well. So with regard to lawyer public relations, that's number 1, my number one initiative. And the second initiative is attorney wellness. And that's become a huge issue nationally because lawyers always take care of other people, but do not take the time to focus on their own wellness. And that's something that we're trying to highlight this year and trying to help lawyers. And what I tell lawyers is, look, before you can go help your clients and members of the public, you've got to make sure that your own house is in order mentally and physically. So what we're doing this year is trying to help lawyers learn stress reduction techniques, proper dieting, to get exercise, to do all of these things that will help lawyers become or function better as people so that they can then help the public. We also have something at the Alabama State Bar called ALAP, which is the Alabama Lawyers Assistance Program. And it is designed to help lawyers that are suffering from depression and also addiction issues so that these lawyers can get professional counseling on a confidential basis. And we want to help all lawyers get in a better place, both mentally and physically. So we're going to have a big push this year on attorney wellness. And last but not least is we're going to be focusing on pro bono services this year with specifically two major areas. The first is we're going to start an anti-human trafficking task force, and it's going to be called Lawyer Voices for Victims. I don't think most people in Alabama realize that human trafficking over the past few years in Alabama has become a huge issue, and it's absolutely getting worse every single day. So we want to be there to help these victims that can't otherwise help themselves. And the second task force that we're forming is called our Healthcare Heroes Task Force, where we as lawyers are going to provide free legal services to all of our first line medical responders. And we really feel like that is very important to try to help out these first line medical responders who have so selflessly given of their time during this pandemic. So we want to make sure that they get help as well. So I really feel like with regard to our great state bar staff and the attorneys in Alabama that we can accomplish all of those things I've just mentioned. So I'm excited about the upcoming year.
It'll go very fast, won't it?
It will. It will.
And given the pandemic, I'm sure you've had to change your focus a little bit and adjust each of the last probably, weeks, in the last 9 weeks. And especially with lawyer health and wellness, it's even becoming more important now that we're physically distancing and we're not in our community. Perhaps most of the lawyers are working from home or not seeing clients and, doing these Zoom calls or online conferences. So I think health and wellness obviously remains a priority for all of us, because if we're not healthy, then how can we serve the public? And I wanted to ask you, for our new lawyers, for our newest lawyers out there, what is the best point of entry that they can make to participate in the bar and in our community to help further your goals? Where would you advise them to start?
Well, I would advise them to start by trying to get involved with the Alabama State Bar. And so they can do that by contacting either my office, or they can talk to my secretary, Susan, or Philip McCallum, who's our executive director at the Alabama State Bar. We love to have volunteers, and it's great that can get them plugged in to meet some of the best lawyers in the state of Alabama, and it's a great networking opportunity for these young lawyers. So I would suggest whether you're a graduating law student or a young lawyer, just to get involved in your local bar association, get involved in the state bar association, because the more lawyers you know, the more opportunities you're going to have.
Mm-hmm. Is there any specific legislation that you are focusing on right now?
Yeah, really, I've got two main parts of legislation that we focus on. The first is making sure that we adequately fund our court system. And so that comes up every year with regard to budgeting. And so we have been blessed to have a great relationship with the legislature to make sure that we can work with them to make sure that we get enough money for our courts to operate smoothly. So that's one of the main things we do every year. And then secondly, because of that great relationship we have with the Alabama legislature, we're able to work with them and serve as a sounding board for them on complex or novel legal issues that arise, with the goal being to make sure that this great proposed legislation that's out there, that it becomes law, and that we can help and advise and provide objective viewpoints to our legislators. So those are our two main things we're going to do legislatively this year.
I see. Now, your brother Tom was president of the Alabama State Bar about 10 or 11 years ago. Is that right?
That is correct.
And I remember that I remember his mantra as being access to justice, his biggest goal, his platform.
Yeah,
And in a way, your effort to reopen the court system gives a whole new meaning to access to justice, doesn't it?
it does. It absolutely does.
Um, is there anything else that you'd like to tell the Cumberland community, the licensed lawyers in the state? How can they help you further your mission?
Well, they can volunteer and help me further my mission, but I think it will also be beneficial for them. The more they get involved, the better off they're going to be. I tell all the young lawyers in my office and the young lawyers I meet, there's an old saying that some lawyers follow, not all, but a lot of people say that it's not the grades you make, but the hands you shake. And there's some truth to that. And basically lawyers are, we're out there and it's almost like salespeople. We're selling ourselves or selling our clients to a jury. And so the more people the better networking opportunities you're going to have. You're going to have better options with regard to business, but you're also going to form a lot of great friendships in the practice of law. And so I would recommend that all young lawyers get out there and try to meet as many lawyers as they can.
Mm-hmm. With respect to pro bono work, if I can take a step backwards,
Yes.
is there any incentives? One of our mid-level associates asked me about whether there were any incentives for lawyers to provide pro bono services, perhaps CLE credits or a reduction in membership fees to the bar, anything like that being discussed?
Currently, there has been some discussion about if you have so many CLE hours, then certain benefits can be provided. So, normally we want people doing pro bono because it's the right thing to do. And so, but there are certain benefits that have been discussed for lawyers who do a lot of pro bono services.
Mm-hmm. As a result of this pandemic, do you see an increase in a specific area of law? We always want to give our new graduates advice about what types of practices might be growing. What do you see in terms of legal work?
Well, the healthcare industry, our healthcare profession, there's always going to be a lot to do there, whether it's litigation or regulation or just consulting. And so, as you can see now, with all of our first line medical responders out there doing all the things that they do, they're really putting themselves at risk to help others. And so I see that the healthcare sector is maybe being a place that a lot of jobs may be available in the coming years.
Okay. Well, if you need any assistance, please call on your fellow Cumberland lawyers and we'll round up some folks, okay?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to do so.
Best of luck to you over the next year. And we look forward to helping with your goals.
Okay. And thanks so much for all that you do for Cumberland as well.
Thank you, Bob. Have a great day.
You too. Goodbye.